Well, absolutely delighted to be down here in Brookside Academy down here, just down the street from Glastonbury. I was hoping to catch up with Mr. Walton, head teacher, but he's just jumped on his bike apparently and headed off home. It's his son's birthday, which is fantastic. I'm just going to see if I can get him on the old Skype now. So let me just press one of these buttons here because I just want to have a quick chat because make sure what's going on here. So there we go, Mr. Walton. Hello, can you hear us? You can see us by the look of it. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, and I can't see you, but I can hear you.
It's all good. Lovely to see you. Thanks so much for giving us a couple of minutes. I know you've got a busy evening. Brian, it's about 2 years I think since I was down there when we let the rockets off and we had that session, and you just won the TS Community School of the Year, hadn't you? I think it was. Was that the one you'd won?
I don't know. It seems so long ago. Almost, yeah, long time ago.
Tell us, I mean, just in a nutshell, just tell us about the school in the context of community and the role of the school in the community.
It's a large school. It's a big old school of about over 600 pupils. It's a 0 to 11 provision, so we have kind of everything from babies, kind of a couple of months old, right up to 11-year-olds. And it's also a special school within the heart of the school. So we've got 40 children who are children with education and healthcare plans who are also part of the mainstream school. And I think, the fact that they kind of play together, eat together and learn together in that kind of big community school kind of spirit is something that's quite not unique, but something that's quite special.
It's quite a big site you've got. How many children do you have on site at that
just over 600.
Wow, so 2, 3 form entry, is it? 2?
It's 3 form entry in some places, but that's soon to kind of see its way through the school. But it's just because of the size of the nursery, the size of the special school that kind of adds to it, really.
And I presume you've been opening business as usual, although we've
we've like everybody else, we've been open every day. We've got about 160 children on site at the moment. Open. There's not been a day we've been closed yet.
Full on. So obviously just down the road from Glastonbury. I mean, is the Glastonbury Festival a big part of the year for you personally and the school?
Yeah, massive part. In fact, we would have had an inset this Friday because so many people from our community don't come to school at that point that it's better to have an inset because many of our parents work there, therefore they take their children with them. It's a massive part actually of the area. I've been here now for about 6 years, and obviously I grew up in this area and I used to go to Glastonbury. My first Glastonbury was about 1991. But everyone talks about it. About this point, everybody's now moaning about the roads and about how they're going to get to work, and all those kind of usual bits and pieces, and whether it's going to rain or whether it's muddy, and it pretty much dominates life around here at this time of the year.
And obviously the weather's usually a bit of a worry as well, isn't it? And this year I could actually do with praying for rain so that everybody stops in and watches what we're doing with you. And Boris has let them out, hasn't he?
It is fascinating. Yeah, a bit of rain would have just made us feel less glum about it. But I can remember a couple of years ago when everybody's tractors were being kind of used to get everybody onto site. And as I kind of cycled into Glastonbury at this point, the cars were so far back because they just couldn't get people on, and they were being pulled onto the site because it was so muddy. This year, because nothing's happening, we've had to order some portaloos so we can have more bubbles on our field. Everybody's got a portaloo. There's just thousands of them everywhere.
I was down there the other week actually because I was sort of pretending I was up on Worthy Farm looking around for a site and got chased off, and then you called and have let us use your site, and a couple of handy dads put a scaffolding pyramid stage up. Good to see that's been taken down.
It's definitely not there.
You're totally happy about us building one out of cardboard boxes and toilet roll tubes, are you? Because
I'm interested to see how big someone can get one, because I saw you had some carpet rolls, and I thought that's an interesting kind of element. And the person that I think who sculpts these is pretty talented, isn't he? I saw his Stevenson rocket. Was it Stevenson?
Yes,
rocket
that's right. Yeah.
I was very, very impressed with that. So I'd be interested to see what he kind of comes up with.
Well, he's actually also done an ice cream van and the first half of a tube train in cardboard as well. It's just phenomenal. So basically every day in the mornings we're going to do a couple of hours of what we call the Rocket Kids Club. So we're going to do creative activities. We've got a drumming session. Friday morning, the kids are going to get the chance to make a pyramid stage out of cardboard. Then immediately after that, we've got a theatre workshop where they're actually going to be taught about theatre and writing stories and plays. And then over the weekend, that theatre group company are going to show them how to make characters and then film it and make their own little movies in the pyramid stage. So that'll be fun. So yeah, I think we've got 4 of those carpet tubes stuck together, so we can actually get to half size of the pyramid stage. We've done the stress tests, so we're confident.
Well, it's interesting because we built some hills last year. We actually built our own kind of. Our field was very flat, and we thought it was a bit dull and a bit boring. So we decided to build some hills. We wanted to build like a Glastonbury hill. We the landscapers actually built a kind of teepee kind of shape, a pyramid shape out of huge kind of tree trunks which they shaved down on the top of one of the hills actually on our site. So yeah, just working out how you can do that structure is quite interesting.
So we've got a bit of an act to follow, have we, with our construction on your site then?
Yeah, so it's only about 8 foot high, maybe a bit more than that. Maybe it's about 12 foot high.
Okay.
It's right on the top of one of the hills in the school. And the kids love it because it's got nothing inside it, but they wrap fabric around it and turn it into a teepee or, you know, kind of all sorts of things in the middle of it and so on and so forth.
Well, it's funny you say that because I know the education you offer there is very creative and taps in particularly in the early years and the special needs. And one of the fondest memories I have of a child is my den, where I literally just used to get an old ladder and a bit of blanket and then have my beans on toast under there and listen with mother, which was lovely. I don't know if
we've got loads and loads of pallets and
that could be handy.
Old plastic bins, lots and lots of kind of planks of wood and elements. And yeah, and den building's a big part of outdoor play. There's a certain part of the school where the dens are allowed to be built. They stay up for a certain amount, a lot of rope. It's all part of kind of outdoor play and learning. A company called Opal, which we've worked with for quite a few years, and they kind of come in and look at kind of how loose parts can be used for play. And so yeah, we have a lot of den building.
That would be good to connect with them actually, because we're keen.
Opal are fantastic. They're a really good organisation.
I'll get the details off you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, because if we can if a bunch of kids can get themselves 4 of these big carpet tubes, they can build a pyramid stage in their garden at home and have their lunch and their tea in it. And then once they've gone to
and Opal that would argue for doing that out in playtime. There's nothing to stop you doing this as part of the play experience. You know.
Well, that'd be great.
When we kind of work it out, if you work out, you know, the amount of time that children spend outside in a normal week, it's hours and hours and hours. So if they can kind of be creative or use that time in a constructive sort of way, where they're kind of masters of their own destiny in some ways, that they're in control of it, so they're not being kind of, you know, it's not completely being dictated to. They learn a lot, usually from their mistakes.
And these experiences,
most of the things fall down to begin with.
And these experiences, a lot of kids aren't getting at home, of course, as well, isn't it? They don't get that free play in some settings.
There was a whole thing around play at home. I think the Play for England or something did something this week where they talked about their concern about, you know, that element of play. But you know, it does need thinking about very carefully. I mean, we've got about 100 tons of sand, so we've got a sand pit of about 100 tons. Someone's just built a massive kind of mud garden, like a mud kitchen. So it's got about 6 sinks, all kind of connected, with kind of bits underneath it and on top, all around trees. We let children climb into trees as well. So there's certain trees that are marked where you're allowed to go to a certain height and climb trees. And this is with you know, a school with children with quite high needs, special needs, and some of those needs are behaviour needs, but we never have a problem. We never have a child refusing to come down from a tree. Well, I say that now, I'll touch wood.
It's I'm coming down. I've got a load of cardboard tubes being delivered tomorrow. I'm going to hopefully get down tomorrow night. Start cracking on. We won't finish it. We're going to actually probably finish the pyramid Friday morning with the kids. So if any of them want to get cracked on and start building it for us tomorrow evening, then I don't know if it's probably a secure site, isn't it? I must admit, somebody I reconnected with lately was Billy Bragg. I saw him down at the Clapham Grand. I hadn't seen him for 30 years.
Yeah, I saw him last year.
How was that?
I saw him in the left field 10 because I wanted to go and see. They're a really big band at the moment. It's just completely gone from my head. It'll come back in a minute. I forgot the name. But Billy Bragg was on before, and I've seen Billy many times. He was in really fine form last year, so that was.
Well, that's his stage actually. The left field, that's his stage. He runs that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there was a young lady on there last year called Emily Capel, who's playing for us on Saturday, and she's known as, maybe since that gig, as the adopted daughter of Billy Bragg. And she's going to do a Billy Bragg song, which is very special for me. And then after that, we've got Glenn Matlock and Earl Slick. Earl Slick was David Bowie's guitarist. And I said to him the other day, actually, I was chatting to him, I said, how many times have you been to London? He said, I first came in 75 to play with David Bowie. I thought, wow, how many people can say that? And
yeah, David Bowie is one of my kind of bucket lists I never got to see because he played Glastonbury.
2000.
I think I was living in London at the time, and I've missed it. That was one of my real sad kind of missed out moments. There's a few bands that I've been lucky enough to see that I'm really proud to have seen, and there's a few that I didn't, and Bowie was one of them.
Well, we've got Glenn Matlock playing with him, so they've promised to do some Bowie stuff and Pistols as well. So that's going to be really exciting Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely.
I just can't believe it because the agenda, Brian, here, as I've always said to you, is you know I've come into education the last 4 or 5 years. Creativity's been the driver, but seeing the work that you and your colleagues do is just phenomenal. Particularly the community focus. Vic Goddard, Chris Dyson, Chris Tolson, all these people are doing, Simon Kidwell, doing incredible work, and it's almost as if you're just in this bubble, talking to each other. And what I've tried to do is take that conversation out of education's little bubbles. And as you know, 2 years ago, I was very keen to connect with Glastonbury because it's the world's biggest brand, biggest music brand, the biggest names. If we can get those people to be aware of what's going on in education around art and creativity, it's got to be good.
One of the things I would say though is that I think, I work with a lot of heads, and I've worked in lots of areas like London and in Bristol. Actually, most heads are community heads. Actually, they might not be on Twitter, but there's a lot of people doing phenomenal. I'm in a lot of networks at the moment, and I think quite often I've got to be just careful that we don't always see the Twitter bubble, because actually there's a huge amount of heads that are very quiet. They wouldn't be known, and they do. I think heads by their very nature do a lot of community stuff. I think it's a prerequisite for the job. Well,
the other thing
you've got to be able to connect.
The other thing I find, Brian, is in fact that a lot of teachers, head teachers, believe in this creativity in the arts thing. They really don't like this narrowing of the curriculum. And as you rightly say, what we tend to see, I don't know if you know the Pareto rule, the 80-20 rule. You've got the 80% in the middle that everybody seems to actually have in common. It's this 10% on each end that seems to be the bits we always argue about and notice, whether it's politics or education approaches, trad, prog, left, right, wrong. And the event this weekend, we really want to park that stuff. We can discuss it, but let's focus on the 80% we have in common.
Yeah, I think there's far more similarity than people realise. I'm quite a trad in lots of ways. I'm quite a stickler for the high standards in literacy, and having left school unable to read or write, I know the impact it has, and how and it was down to people pushing me in those areas that allows me to have the job I have today. But I'm a huge stickler for that.
It's an extreme prog, as you call them, that doesn't want kids to be able to read. And in fact they don't, do they? But it's just that's the language that's set up. Yeah. Anyway, it's rather bizarre. So, in a nutshell, then 3 days at the school. We're going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're going to be able to dip in and out and keep an eye on it, hopefully. Get the community involved. As I say, just out of interest, I want to send an information pack out tomorrow to you and other schools to tell them that we're doing the activities in the morning for the kids, that we want young people, children, their adults, parents, grandparents to Skype in. Friday is Kids Day, inspired by Lenny, a little lad in Sheffield with some challenges who's going to play the piano on Friday night.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about that.
That's going to be superb.
Actually, I had a child emailed me from our school today saying, "Have you got a green screen?" I thought, "Oh, right, they've got in contact with you then." So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, they don't have to do it on green screen. Don't worry. Yeah. We have had a.
Oh, no, they've got it. We got it.
Oh, good. Well, we've had one. We've had one from your school. Saturday is Mum's Day, Dad's Day, Creative Carers Day, that mid-generation. So that's actually dedicated to a lady called Jem, who I met in a school a few years ago, it turns out, but she's a teaching assistant, she's a single mum, but she's on this science Twitter thing with her daughter Martha, which is fantastic. And Sunday is Granddad's Day. We've got a granddad in mind, but we're not too sure if
he's the old punk day then.
It's the old punk day, because let's face it, the granddads are not tea parties at the Ritz anymore, they're actually Sex Pistols rock and rollers, aren't they, which is fantastic. So that is punk rock day really, Sunday. And so I just, what would you as a head teacher want to see in that to make you want to send it home to parents? Is there anything particular I should be looking out for to make sure I put in that pack that goes out tomorrow?
I think it just needs to be structured so that people know what's on and when, and and what they're getting really. I think if they have that, and they can feel that they can take a part. And it's ease of access. I think those kind of things are the things that, as you know from trying to get hold of each other tonight, technology can sometimes be the thing that stops people feeling like they're engaged. But yeah, just nicely laid out and clear.
Great stuff. And if we send that out to you, you'll get that out to your community as you have before, and stick that on Facebook and everything. Any last thoughts before you head off? Because I know you need to crack on now. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I'm about to go to my son's birthday party. In other words, food. So no, nothing at all really.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Very, very much, Brian. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so generous of you to lend your school for us to build a pretend pyramid stage for the people, by the people, with the people, and particularly with your community and around the area. So thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you in the next few days. And
speak soon.
Thanks a lot. Have a lovely evening. Happy birthday to your son. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
So one of the nice things about Glastonbury or any festival is that end of day thing. When you've had a day out, you get back to your tent and you chill out and have a little drink. And hang on, sounds like some. Hang on. Whoop. Sorry about this. I wasn't expecting a call at the moment. Let's see who this is. Hang on. Let's press that button there. John Jackson. I'm in the middle of an overview of what's happening at the Your Glasgow Festival, John Jackson, and you phone up. What are you up to?
Oh, I'm having loads of fun at the moment. I'm relaxing and taking life easy.
Well, you've had a bit of a decoration change there. Have you got a bit of a green screen? Well, not to worry about that. Can I just carry on with where I was for a minute, John? Can you bear with me a second? Blimey, this rock and roll. This is a rock and roll life. I'll put you down there. So, John, I was just telling everybody about festivals. Have you been to a festival?
God, yeah, I've been to quite a few, Nick.
Okay, so you know that thing when you go out for the day, you have a few drinks, whether you've got kids or not, and then you get back to the tent, don't you? Have a bit of a chat with your mates, what you've been up to, you get ready to go out. And we're calling that the fire pit session. So Joe Strummer used to do it at festivals. Joe Strummer used to light a fire up, people would chill out and sit around him, Strummerville. And basically, I've teamed up with an amazing guy here called Chris Sullivan, who used to run a nightclub called The Wag in the West End. And his black book, You Would Die For. This is a guy who wrote a book last year called Mavericks, which you should have been in, frankly. And and basically, he had an article in GQ about the book. Now, you know when they do book reviews in GQ, it's usually like a column or half a page.
Yeah.
Chris Sullivan had 15 pages about his book.
Whoa!
And they didn't get a freelance journalist in to write it. The editor, Dylan Jones, wrote it. And they got a photographer in to photograph Chris, and they got David Bailey to take the photos. So pretty cool guy, yeah?
Oh, that is cool, man. That is absolutely rocking.
Pretty full on. So basically, Chris Sullivan has helped me get some people for this fire pit sessions. So the first person he's got lined up is a chap called Robert Elms, who used to write for The Face. He's got a show on BBC Radio London every day, Monday through Saturday. Have you heard of Robert Elms?
Yeah, super cool.
Super cool. The next guy is John Mitchinson. He runs an organisation called Unbound. So if you wanted to write a book, and they're near you up in Islington actually, so if you wanted to write a book, you go to them, they help you crowdfund it and then print it for you. So they've done amazing books like Dr. Sue Black's Bletchley Park story. He's got Don Letts, who used to be the filmmaker for The Clash. You've probably heard of The Clash. I know you're a bit of an Essex soul boy.
Clash, Nick, come on.
So Don Letts was in a band with Mick Jones called Big Audio Dynamite. Remember them?
Oh, yeah.
So how cool is this?
My youth, Nick.
We've got Pam Hogg, who's a fashion designer for Susie and the Banshees. She does stuff for Rihanna. We've got this young lady here called Emily Capel, who has been dubbed Billy Bragg's adopted daughter. And then Saturday night, we've got Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols and Earl Slick, who is David Bowie's guitarist. How cool is this?
Oh, this is, man, Nick, I'm salivating at this. This is amazing, man.
And this
You're
is
the man.
this is Saturday. This is Saturday, which is essentially Mums and Dads and Creative Carers Day, and I think really we should have done this on Grandad's Day, which is Sunday, but not to worry. Friday night, we've got this little lad here. I don't know if you've seen Lenny. Lenny's a little lad from Sheffield with some serious challenges, special needs, and he can play 30-second riffs on the piano. So he's headlining Friday night on a green screen on the pyramid stage that we've built down there at Brookside Primary Academy. And before that, we've got these two lads. Do you know who those two lads are?
Gosh, they look familiar, Nick. Come on, you know, tell me more.
We've only got Martin and Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet.
No, come on, you're having me
Now,
on.
I've got a job for you, John. I don't know if you can make this happen. But I don't know if you know much about Spandau Ballet, and you probably know them from EastEnders more than Spandau. But basically, what I want LGFL. I've got a bit of a mission for LGFL because I saw on Friday we're going to play a song, "I'm Still Standing," which was done by Telford Pryor, and basically a school sang "I'm Still Standing." Somebody told Elton John about it. Elton John did a little film. I want to do one better than that. I want LGFL, because I know I've seen some of the videos that Bob Usher and the team are doing. I want you to find an LGFL school that could do a Spandau song. Now, cut a long story short, I don't know. I think there's one song. I mean, what would you say?
Gold. It's got to be gold.
Do you reckon? Do you think that's the one? Do you think you could pull that off? Do you think by Saturday night you could go out and get an LGFL school, get Bob, I don't care what Bob's got on his plate, get him out with his camera. Do you think you could make that happen?
Yeah, listen, we can make it happen. We want to make it happen.
You're serious? I know you're. I don't. This isn't sort of. We're after Watershed now. Pretty ballsy language, but John Jackson, do you think you could make that happen?
We can make it happen.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make something happen now because I'm going to press that button there, and I'm going to press that button there. And if you move a little bit along to the left, John Jackson, or the right, let's keep going a little bit further and stop there. Bit too far. Come back a little bit and a little bit lower. You've gone too far now. A little bit across again. A little bit across again. A little bit across again. Just a little bit more. A little bit more. About 3 or 4 inches to your right. You have now got two of the hardest looking men looking over your shoulder. No pressure.
Oh man, this is like, wow. We can do this, Nick. Come on.
You up for it?
Yeah, we want to be extraordinary.
I think so. I think we can. I think if anybody can do that, I think LGFL is the organisation to do that. So John Jackson, you are now back at Brookside Academy in front of a pyramid stage that's been built from scaffolding. We've asked them to take that down. That's just a picture because we want them to build it with cardboard tubes. We want them to build it with cardboard tubes, and because you've got the green screen, I'm going to have to do some jiggling around here to get myself back up at all. So let's have a look here and put myself on there and put myself up there. And I'm now in the top right hand corner because you've hogged the green screen capabilities of the mixer, but not to worry, that's all good.
Sorry, Nick.
Now, I want people building little pyramid stages. I've got some cardboard tube here. This is a tube that carpet comes in. We want communities, we want kids, we want families building pyramid stages the length of this land, because the pyramid stage is usually where the main action is, the big bands, but the fun at a festival is always in those nooks and crannies. The creativity happens in those little nooks and crannies. I don't know if you'd agree. And that's what we want to do. We are building a pyramid stage, which is going to be the world's biggest, the world's most famous art gallery in the world. We're going to pack it with coding and robots, music, dancing, DJing. We're going to bring a whole festival into the pyramid stage in a playground in Somerset this Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Do you fancy some of that?
Absolutely, rocking.
John Jackson, you're an absolute legend. You really are, and I'm glad we sort of pinned you down for this, because I think that was worth every penny, every minute, and every penny. And the good thing is, I can press a button here, and suddenly you are back over there where you belong, over in that corner. You talk to your mates at Google and your mates at Microsoft, who've got great video conferencing platforms, Teams and Meet. You tell them, you ask them if they can do this with their platform.
I'm not sure they can, Nick. I don't think anybody can equal you, mate.
It's a good vibe, isn't it? So
yeah.
I'm going to play out now. Have you seen the video of the building of the stage and all that stuff? And that
I've been retweeting you quite a bit, Nick. I haven't necessarily kept up with all your tweeting, but
I'm going to show you now. We have just blown the budget with this. When they make Jurassic Park, they have to calculate how many dinosaurs they can afford. You know, we've had a few too many dinosaurs there, so no dinosaurs for half an hour, and then we'll have a Triceratops at the end. I'm going to play out now, John Jackson, with a video that I made, which is the story. You can keep it on screen and watch it. I'll catch up with you because I know you've got a lot of work to do, because I know you don't do a 9 to 5. John Jackson, thank you for your support. We would be nowhere without you. And I've just realised my hard disk's over on the other side of the room because we did this in a hurry. So bear with me while I'm going to get my hard drive that's got the video on it. John Jackson, you're full screen. Tell everybody what you've been up to closing the divide. Go on, 30 seconds.
Yeah, we've been accelerating technology into schools, Nick, saving schools a lot of money, you know, making sure that schools aren't disrupted when they come back in September, and, you know, helping schools, small schools particularly, get a great price for devices, you know, and things are rocking at the moment. You know, we've got hundreds and hundreds of schools, tens of thousands of devices, all shipping from China very soon into the classroom, so the kids can get onto the technology, have some great fun, use things like Creative Cloud, just do some awesome stuff. And I can't wait for the start of the new academic year. So Bridge the Divide, rocking, doing good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Long may it continue.
Well, I'm back now. I'm just going to show you and remind you what you've made possible here, John Jackson, because your generosity, the support that you've shown us when other people would have run a million miles from Steamco and crazy dads like me. As you know, I'm here in a green screen studio. I've got a screen that's exactly the same as yours, ironically. I've got a steam engine over there, and that is my office, all crammed up at the one end of the office because you enabled me to equip a room in my house with a green screen TV studio, all the video screens over there. We've got 3 computers over there running Skype, an 8-channel vision mixer, and there's John Jackson on the screen there, because John Jackson and LGFL have made this possible, and I can't thank you and your team enough, John. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I can't hear the audio because I've unplugged it over there because it was humming a minute ago. So let's rewind. I've got a phrase, John Jackson, and it's this, and it's still not playing. Why is that not playing? Okay, so we'll edit this out. Is the audio? Oh, it's because I muted the audio. Okay, because it was buzzing a minute ago. There's always a logical explanation. That's what we always have to remember. Okay, and that's not coming out the right place either. Tell you what, Microsoft owe me a bit of an explanation for my laptop because it's a bit of a... Okay, hang on.
Nick, I'm rocking in the aisles while you're doing all this, of course, you know.
You what?
There's so many good things going on. We've got light at the end of the tunnel.
I know you've been busy. It's funny because you're one of those people. I just need to be able to send you a 3-bullet email and say, shall I do this? You just need to say yes, no, or maybe then and there, and then we can rock it. Let's see if we've got audio now. Right, okay, so we're going to rewind on that because this is a recording and it's not going out at 9 o'clock at this rate, but not to worry. So where are we? So John Jackson, I can't thank you enough for the support you've given us at Steamco, and I'm going to play out with this little video that just sums it up. Thank you. I passionately believe that the future for our children, our communities and our country lies in one thing: creativity. It can inspire our kids in their learning. It can create careers and connect communities. 10 years ago, after a trip to a festival, Camp Festival, I went back to my son's primary school and started a non-profit community enterprise called Steamco with other parents, teachers and local businesses. We ran mini creativity festivals. Steamco helps
Nick. It's been great talking to you.
And our communities with their schools. Last weekend in that same playground, I filmed an amazing set by the legendary Glenn Matlock, co-founder of the Sex Pistols, and amazing global rock star Earl Slick, who used to play with David Bowie. It will be their performance at an event we've just been given permission to run in the playing fields of a school just down the road from Glastonbury. We're calling it #YourGlasto. It's one of 5 free 3-day Art of Community festivals that we're running all summer with the help of the Arts Council and funding from the National Lottery. Our first one was live streamed from Eden Project at the end of May and featured inspiring talks, uplifting performances, creative activities and community engagement. We had a fantastic performance by the blind and disabled young woman Kirpa from Leeds. We had a great Saturday night set from Emily Capel, and Gaz Mayer even Skyped in from his hideaway in Wales. We had a right old laugh watching Rosemary Schrager teach Levois to cook, and we all split our sides with Basil Brush.
Technology is an amazing thing.
Punk icon Jar Wobble chatted with a grandad in Liverpool. On Sunday we had a little big lunch, and after that rockstar activator Tom Morley led a co-drum circle with hundreds of people all over the world. And we had a couple of great late night dance parties where people could Skype in with a green screen background and end up on the dance floor. As the CEO of the Arts Council has said,
let's ask, what if? Let's start a creativity revolution.
Let's create our Glasgow, my Glasgow, your Glasgow. Oh no, what have they done? What on earth is this? That's not what we ordered. Hey mate, what are you doing?
Whoa, what are you doing, mate? You saw that area?
Oh, sorry, I've got a helmet, hang on. I mean, what are you doing setting up a scaffold pyramid stage?
Well, I've got my paperwork here to come here and deliver it. Really? Yes.
Well, you've got to take it down.
Take it down?
We wanted one made out of old cardboard boxes and loo rolls to inspire our kids to be creative. We want them to make their own at our Your Glasgow Festival next Friday.
Right, okay. John, we've got to take it down. We're going to be all day. We're going to have to hurry up then because I want to get on and watch football tonight.
Thanks, guys. Wow, that was a close one. Hopefully those guys can take that down now, but I don't know what we're going to do about cardboard. Let me see if I can get hold of Malumba. Oh, there he is.
I just saw what happened on Twitter. That's hilarious. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do with all that cardboard.
Well, we've got to make a stage out of cardboard. Do you remember that? Well, who was that guy you had on last week? Who made
Will Alexander? Yes, absolutely.
Can you get him in on Friday, and he can show the kids how to make pyramid stages out of cardboard tubes like this, toilet roll holders, cardboard boxes, anything like that. And even maybe some of the kids can get some of these big cardboard tubes from the carpet warehouses. There's one just down where I am. And you could make you could make one in the garden and actually have your lunch in that, and maybe have a performance or a band in there.
We're gonna have a whole cardboard Glastonbury event kind of thing.
Well, fantastic. And I think that the pyramid stage at Glastonbury is a place for music, but we could redefine it almost. It's a place for all sorts of art. Kids can play music. We've got a theatre company coming in, and they're going to talk to the kids about making theatre and writing plays. If kids do a small one, they can make little characters. We've got a stop motion animation company who can show them how to make little films. We've got Adobe Premiere to do video editing. I think that's going to work quite well, don't you?
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless.
And the other thing we need people to be getting ready for, Malumbo, we need people to be art activists next weekend. We're going to do loads of workshops about art activism, which is changing the world with your art. And we want people to download this A4 sheet off our website, #ILoveArt, draw a heart logo in there. Have you been doing any of these? Because you were going to do some, weren't you?
Absolutely, I've got one right here.
Oh. Wow, fantastic, my Glasgow. So can we print some of those onto t-shirts that people can use?
We can print as many as you want, and I'd love for people to be wearing them, expressing their love for not only Glasgow, but for the community, for the people on the street, especially in these times.
Brilliant. And if people take a photo holding their I Love Art sign, send it in, #ILoveArt, #YourGlasgow. We'll look out for 2 or 3 of those every day, and we'll print some free t-shirts to send them out. But if you don't want to risk it, we've got a whole load of t-shirts here. We're going to print these up with Malumba's design and any others that we can get, and you can buy these from our online store. And if anybody wants to do a poster, do one of these big posters, I Love Art posters. These are 3 guys from down, guys and girls from down at the Tabernacle in Notting Hill, where we also met this Glasgow legend, Charlie Phillips, who came to England years ago in the Windrush generation and is the Windrush generation official photographer, if you like, and he took photos at the first ever Glastonbury's. when he went down
That's
there
great.
with Arabella Churchill, who's Winston Churchill's granddaughter or niece, I think. Can't remember the connection.
Wow.
So if people want to print those posters, you can send the artwork off by midday and get them back the next day from a company called Solo Press. Or we're going to put a link on the website for how you can do it by just printing lots of sheets of A4 and sticking them together, because we don't need to be spending money. We can celebrate creativity and art without spending an awful lot of money. What do you reckon to that, Malumba?
This all sounds really great, Nick. It's going to be really a weekend of creativity, of making things out of nothing, literally. So that's really, really brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, I'll let you crack on, Malumba. Thank you so much for dropping in. Your Glasgow. By you, with you, for you. Be part of it with your art. Sign up for information, to speak, to sing, or to help us in any way. Did you enjoy yourself, John Jackson?
Yeah, except I've lost about half a stone in weight.
Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for your support. Nothing without you. Nothing without you.
Oh, Nick, it's, as I say, I'll chip in when I can. You just, you know, when I can, I'll help. And if I'm not ignoring you, Alison's always there.
I know, we're still live, so I'll sleep tight. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
Take care.
All very good. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So